Okay, we want to welcome to our Lunch and Learn today, and this is a fantastic man. I call him my brother and everything right and everything good. Mario is a pastor. He's a thought leader. He is a coach. He's a friend. He's a lot of things. And I'm going to let him tell you all the things that he is so I don't miss anything. So I am going to welcome you, Mario, to our Lunch and Learn. And I appreciate you as always coming in.
Absolutely.
So you are here and we're going to talk about coaching and the benefits of coaching. So tell our audience a little bit about you and also answer that question about coaching and the benefits of coaching that we both take part in.
Absolutely. Mara, thank you so much for having me. Whenever you call me, I am super excited because I know that we're not going to just engage, but I'm going to learn because you hold a wealth of knowledge. Your perspective is always fresh, is always solid. And I enjoy even just gleaning from you. And I'm always honored. So thank you. Let me get that out of the way, which you know I appreciate that. I'm a life coach. My name is Mario Brown. I pastor a church in Auburn, Alabama, the Kingdom Church. And I also have Life Matters Life Coaching Services, where we focus on developing wellness plans for self-care, along with strategies to live a better life. And that means uncovering things that are absolutely causing you to abandon the betterment of life, teaching you how to come into being responsible for your own happiness, being responsible for writing your own constitution, along with amending it whenever necessary. So we do life strategies, how to come back after bad relationships, how to come back after failed friendships, and just how to feel like living again. That's our specialty, and to help people even approach those abandoned dreams that they've had and to get over this need to satisfy everybody but yourself. And it takes a strategy to do that. Right. So that's what I do. And so to talk about what you were mentioning for our subject today, life coaching, I think that coaching, as we talked about earlier, Myra, is so critical for so many people because, like you said, they don't need a psychiatrist, they don't need a psychologist, but they do need someone to sit down with them and walk them through the process of revealing what's hidden. Because basically that's what we're talking about, is being able to talk through and develop strategies that you can hold yourself accountable to get the outcome. And I think that an effective coach understands that we learn differently, we hear differently, we process differently. So a really good coach, in my opinion, is able to ask the questions before we get into the problems about how this person thinks. How does this person hear? One of the most important things that I do is to ask a series of questions that help me understand how you listen, how you hear. How do you process that so that we can develop a system? So I'll learn how to talk. For instance, if I'm talking to somebody who is military, one of the things I try to do is to learn about military terms, how they talk. That's a whole different genre of people. And so what I do is to learn. If you're in the medical field, I'm going to be able to learn some things about the field that you specialize in so that I can make references to your place of understanding. I think that that's my place of connecting with people. If you're a teacher, I'm going to deal with education. I'm going to talk to you from that perspective so that we can really get there. And I think that that makes it more effective and people feel a little bit more at ease and not so clinical when you can talk to them. You know what I mean? When you can talk to them about something and you're really understanding what they do on a day-to-day basis, even if it's a homemaker or just a mom, a stay-at-home mom or a father who's in whatever industry that is, I take the time to get that foreknowledge so I can talk to them about them and connect all those dots. And I think that it lowers the tense moment of talking to a stranger.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That's good what you said, Mario, because you are no longer a stranger.
Yes.
When you are talking to them in their own language, you're not a stranger any longer because you have developed a relationship because now we have something in common.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is good. That's really good because a lot of people, some people dive into it. They just dive into the issue without building a relationship with that individual.
Absolutely.
Because you can build a relationship in a couple of minutes with that person because you have to disarm them to make them feel comfortable to be able to trust you to have that conversation about their needs.
I'm going to take that word disarm. I'm going to take that, Myra. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, I'm taking that. I love that because, when people are talking about real personal issues, I think one of the things that a coach has to do And with me, I deal with everything, again, from a faith-based, not religious, but a faith-based initiative for me. Because what I say is this: if you know that I've taken the time to get to know what you do, then you know I'm investing in you.
Absolutely.
Not only are you investing in the services, but I'm investing time to figure out what it is you do and figure out your life, how you operate, how you listen. What are those triggers for you, so that I can, basically move in a strategic way to, as you said, disarm the fear, the apprehension that's present when we're talking to people. Because what we're getting ready to do is to do the onion peel. As long as the onion peel is all together, you don't smell anything, nobody's crying.
Right.
Peel those layers back. We need that confidence that this person has taken the time to hear me.
Absolutely.
To really listen to me. And so I think that's one of the reasons I've been effective in my coaching. About maybe a few weeks ago, people started sending in testimonies about what it is they've gotten out of the service. Right. And Myra, I was totally shocked to hear some of the things that I wasn't aware of they were receiving. I think I have a fraternal thing kind of going on too. I'm 53. So I got this kind of father thing going on to give them that space and opportunity to talk without judgment. And I think that what happens is when you have to move them to accountability, if they can know that you care about them, accountability becomes easier.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And something else you hit on about someone hears them, because a lot of people, they want the listening part, but then they want to be prompt to action too.
Absolutely.
Not just to listen to the song and dance all the time, but to hear me and then I leave out of here. You prompt me into action. You give me some homework. You
absolutely,
give me, something to do, rather than send me home and say, you know what, come back next week.
Absolutely.
We'll talk some more, or I'll listen to you some more, but I've done no action in those 7 days or what have you. You've given me the bill, I've paid for it, and now I'm still on this journey. And something else you said, which was amazing, and I'm going to take this one from you.
Okay.
When you said that they build their life constitution and they amend it.
Yes.
And that is actually total ownership, because they are the ones that write it out.
Absolutely.
That's theirs. No matter what anybody says or what anybody thinks, that's theirs.
Absolutely.
And they can amend it anytime they want to, because that's their power to do that.
Absolutely. You just said it. It gives them the power back. Because, see, what I find is a lot of people have grown up under a matriarchal authority that's been imposed upon them. In other words, their mother's will has been imposed, and it's filed under, I'm raising you. And so that paternal authority that comes from the mother, that comes from the father in some cases, where we want you to be what we're comfortable with you being. We're going to orchestrate in the formative years everything that you're going to carry the rest of your life. And so that becomes the thing that's guiding them, even though they've now reached a space in time where it's time for me to decide what I want. So that means now dismantling all of those things that are anti now.
Right.
You see what I mean? So you got to form a new, and you know what, Myra? You will be so surprised at how many people are afraid to compose their own constitution.
Absolutely.
To take matters into their own hand and say, even if what they gave me was good, I deserve the right to amend it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so are you saying, for those who are having their lunch today, that it's okay not to do what mama and daddy said?
Absolutely.
If it's good for me, if it makes me happy, if it's good for me, it is okay.
It is okay.
We don't become the doctor, or we don't become the attorney, or we don't become the track star or the ball player. Although daddy went with me to every little league game there is, it's okay that I make that choice for me.
You have an inherent right to do so.
Absolutely.
You have an inherent right, because you have an individual life that has been given to you by our Creator.
Absolutely.
You've been given a will. You've been given a mind. You've been given your set of emotions. You have something that has been ordained on your life, and you deserve. See, that's the whole thing about convincing them.
That's good.
You deserve to make the choice. That's your right.
Yeah.
And no matter what the response from others is, you still must maintain your right.
Absolutely.
You've got to do that.
Absolutely.
And so that means, though, and here we go back to accountability, because whoever's listening today, I want you to really get this, that you are absolutely entitled to decide what works for you. And if it doesn't work, your greatest deliverance is going to be from public opinion. That's your greatest deliverance, is from being boxed in and compartmentalized to make others feel comfortable about you. See, that's the hard part. That's when you're talking about accountability. See, when you go home and do the homework, it's not so much that I got to write this down and write that down, but I also have to make a decision about my responses to what I've decided.
Absolutely.
How will I respond to that?
Right.
Because sometimes, you know, what happens is there's a system, a tribal system in most families, particularly, well, I ain't gonna even say just the African American, but in every family, there is a tribal system where there is someone who controls the opinions of the whole family.
That's true.
And
Absolutely.
if you walk outside of those parameters, they will turn the entire family against you and you feel alone. But let me say this to someone today, that if this is your situation, God in his infinite wisdom will always establish a surrogate to keep you healed. If the biological abandons you over a choice that you feel is right for you, there is always a surrogate family established to secure you and give you what you need in that realm.
That is so, so true. And it's so beautiful, because people need to know that surrogate families, as you call them, and blood families are different.
Yeah.
But those surrogate families can be just as loving and compassionate and understanding and warm and have all the confidence in the world in you, as opposed to who you grew up with or your blood family.
Absolutely.
And even today, families are not like they used to be. Their loyalty and commitment to each other are not there. They're still with a lot of jealousy and backbiting and all kinds of problems. But you said it correctly, and I've experienced that surrogate family is there to kind of take you into the fold and hug you, hold you, let you cry with them, help you understand, and help you to go where you want to go. And they have a kind of a spiritual connection with you, like they have been ordained of God to say,
that's it.
You know what? Myra needs you.
Yes.
Mario needs you. And they happen to be there at the correct time for you in your life. And I think sometimes people feel guilty, and I've done this before, feel guilty, like, family, you know. Well, no, because then you are sacrificing your destiny and you're given right, because you'll stay here and you'll suffer and you no one to talk to, no one to encourage you, because they knew you from then.
Absolutely.
You know, they knew you when you were a teenager, you were really bad,
right.
doing all these things, and now you want to do big things, and
Absolutely.
that encouragement is not there.
And Myra, let me interject that, because you brought out a very powerful point, is that moment where you must decide, do I sacrifice myself and be uncomfortable and to carry an internal stress because I must choose something that makes me uncomfortable to even go to a family reunion, a funeral, a wedding, all of this, all because I've decided to go to a different church even.
Yeah, true.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? I decided not to go to school. True. I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so I experienced that, and this is where I built my ministry. Because growing up, you have a side of your family that's Baptist, a side that's Pentecostal.
Yeah.
I decided to go to the Pentecostal church, so there was a disturbance in the Baptist side of the family because they didn't understand the Pentecostal side. One of the things my mother did was she said, "Where do you want to go?" She never moved in that way to dominate me to do any of that. And I think that the Lord really dealt with my mother about who I was early. So she allowed me the space. So what I do is to take that same leeway, and I try to impute that to people that I encounter, that you have been designed with a pathway that you must follow. When you allow people to come in and run interference to that, you become enslaved to even their silence.
Yeah, yeah.
Because see, when I'm coaching people, I found out that they are really enacting the same behaviors that have been imputed to them.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And so what happens is, what they're really frustrated about is, I wanted to be an attorney, but the dominant factor in the family were educators. So what they said was, no, you need to teach school.
Yeah.
And then you can move up and be a principal. Then you can get your own school. And that's still just as good. But deep down inside, you abandon what you really wanted to be. That means you abandon that.
True.
All because someone sowed a thought in your mind, in your spirit, that you don't have a right to choose.
Right.
And if you want to be good in this family, you need to let us direct that effort.
Wow.
Because then we'll be proud of you.
Right. Isn't that something?
It is.
And I heard you say that a few words back about how that happens in business.
Sure.
Where some people think that you should work a job. And then some people think, and somebody is saying, oh, this is a business that you should do. Or you have it in you, whether it's a ministry or whether it's a business. And that goes back to people usurping their thought of what you should do in your life. And even if you've been called to do it, and you know deep down in your heart, this is what you should do, and you got this pull that's saying you should do, you need to do. And I'm finding that happening in some of the couples that, you know, that he wants to start a business and she wants him to go to work because she's working. And then, you know, we need, you know what I'm saying? Because we need some extra money, or we can't go to Disney World, but not knowing that there's going to be a level of stretching in anything that you do. There's going to be a level of sacrifice in anything that you do.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, you know, when others are not up for the challenge, it does cause a problem.
Well, let me ask you this, Myra, and I know I'm supposed to be interviewed by you, but I want to ask a question because I think there's a lot of meat on that bone. When people are talking about coming together as couples, I think one of the things that I always advise people to do is to not get caught up in the today, but to find out what dreams and aspirations does this person have 5-10 years from now.
Absolutely.
Because if they're thinking about doing a business and you're thinking, I came from a family who go to work every day
for 40 years.
Exactly. And we're cut from an entrepreneurial type of cloth. You may have a clash.
You will have a clash.
It'll bleed over into every area of the relationship because we see the world differently.
Absolutely.
The world differently. And again, here we go with being accountable now, is that we have to understand that some people are built for entrepreneurship. They're built for it. Yeah. If they fail, they never stop. They still pick it up and keep going. And some people are built to go from company to company to company to company.
True. That's true.
And so we have to figure out, again, who am I? That's why I tell people, all of my college students, let's start working on who you are. Let me tell you an exercise I did, Mari, that's so critical in my coaching. I did a group session and I went around the room and I asked the question, so tell me your name and who you are. Everybody went around the room and told me what they did, where they worked. They were mommy. I let everybody finish and I said, it's so great to know what you guys do. Now let's do this again. Tell me who you are. The point of the exercise is that we have become one with what we do and lost ourselves in the process.
And who we are.
So then when you get frustrated and your body starts expressing that frustration in the form of disease, dis-ease, now you got to find Myra and Mario.
Yeah.
And now we've got to walk you through what is the root of that. Because you are vegan, you exercise, but your blood pressure is out of control. You got this going on, you got all this stuff going on, but you normally healthy. You eat right, you don't eat no salt, you just ain't got no sugar, you do it. Absolutely. I don't eat none of that stuff, but my blood pressure is out of control. Why? Because you're internalizing a level of dis-ease because you haven't taken responsibility for who you are and what you really want out of this life. One shot at this life, and you're letting everybody else's opinion infiltrate you. So I think when we go back to the original purpose of the Lunch and Learn, is that coaching does work for many. Yeah. But it's a painful process. You know why? Take a blender. You're actually putting inside the blender preconceived notions with new strategies for living better. Yeah. You got to blend them up.
Right. True.
until you get something better.
Yeah. True.
And so what we have to do as practitioners is to expect the pain that's going to be revealed.
That's true.
But here's something that I want to twist a little bit. Oftentimes with the practitioner, there is a revelation about yourself.
True.
And I think that the practitioner has to understand too, is that even though we're helping, we're also being helped. And so that's the beauty of human communication.
That's true.
It's
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. Because you learn a lot from your clients, whether it's couples or individuals, and no matter what they're going through, you are actually learning from them as well. As much as they're giving to you, you're giving to them. And it's an amazing transaction because we're both wanting to give our best and do our best and be our best. And what you were saying about when the two come together prior to, that's something that I do with my couples as well. That's a conversation that I always have. Are you intending on being an entrepreneur? Do you want to stop working? How long are you going to work? Even when they're talking about children and raising a family, you want to do that 12 months after you get married? Maybe that might not be the right thing to do, is to start a family if you haven't started to actually mold into each other. And that makes a big difference in life. So, pulling out those things like you were talking about, loving this, your constitution, that you are held accountable for that and able to amend that. You can amend it every day if you want to.
Yes.
It's you, it's yours. You have the pen and the power to do that.
Exactly. When you think about it, Myra, so we're 19 when we decide some things that we want to do.
Yeah.
We start approaching 30. And I always tell people 30 is the number of maturity. All right. So if 30 represents the number of maturity, the world looks different at 30 than it did at 29.
Yeah.
Okay, at 29 now, you wake up one day at 30 and be like, that ain't funny no more. That don't turn me on no more. I don't like that no more. I ain't going over there no more. You get 30 and you didn't even plan it. But what happens is at that moment, we must be able to rewrite it freely. We must be able to say, I've decided that no longer works for me.
Absolutely.
I've decided that I'm going to amend my interactions. I'm going to deal with my decisions differently now. And I don't have a committee to run that through.
That's true. Oh my God. That is so true. Because their decisions are based upon the influence of somebody else. You have to learn to be your own government.
Your own government. Say that again, Myra. Say that again, please. That's great.
Your own government. You govern you. Nobody else is in this government but you. You are every cabinet, whatever position, whatever it is, it's you. And
even if you have advisors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's up to you. It's your decision, and you should not be governed by anyone else or influenced by anybody else. It says your happiness is dependent on if I approve this or not. If somebody on the other side approves this, because you got to know that's a problem.
Sure.
That's a problem. Because think about, and especially in families, think about when that family is not around. Think about if that family moves on. Then you find yourself scrambling to others, and you'd be a basket mess, for sure.
Let me tell you, Myra, I know people that are still being controlled by people from the grave.
Oh my gosh.
From the grave. It was that powerful. See, because they established a rule. They established a dictatorship. They established a mindset, a school of thought, a premise in which everybody operates from, that even in their absence, it's present. That's how powerful it has been.
And that's too much power.
That's too much power for any one person. I promise you that. It's way too much power. Yeah.
Too much power. Too much power. Well, Mario, I tell you, this has been amazing. Our Lunch and Learn has been amazing. And I'm telling you, just wrapping up what you were saying about the Constitution, that is a big deal to me. And that you're able to amend that and abandon your dreams, that you don't have to do that. And what a coach can do for you going through your life doesn't mean everything is wrong. It's just that we're here to hold you accountable of what you say.
Absolutely.
That you want.
That's right.
Beneficial for your life. It has been extremely amazing. And I want you to tell our audience, because they're all over the world,
about
you. and how they can get in contact with you, Mario.
Absolutely. Well, again, I'm this Life Matters Life Coaching Service. And my website is www.mariocbrown.org. That's www.mariocbrown.org. You can follow me on Instagram, Mario E4L. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. And I literally am committed to assisting people in finding the authenticity that's hidden under everything else you've been going through. And that's my commitment. And I believe that every person has a right to dig through all of that. And so you can always reach me there. You can go to the website. There's a number where you can call and make an appointment. We have a 20-minute free consultation. My secretary will take your information and schedule you for that. And we can get you in a program that will get you back in a place of restored joy and peace.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Mario, you know what? You know this is not the last time I'm going to call you for a lunch and learn. You already know that, right?
Thank you so much. Absolutely. I love it.
We agree on so many things in coming to help people. And we're about serving people and helping them. But there is always a limit to that.
Yes.
Because, you know, you're not pretty strong in helping you, but not babying you.
Absolutely.
You know, and not putting you in a cradle and just going to rock you until you know,
right.
grow up. We're going to hold you accountable. So I want to thank you today for being a part of the Lunch and Learn here at Hindsight Media Radio. And I'll be calling on you soon. Again.
Thank you so much, Mara. I love you. I appreciate you. Keep doing what you do.
I appreciate you as well. And I'll talk to you soon, my brother.
All right. Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right. You're welcome. Bye.